The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beers of sports talk and a whole lot more. Join host Brent Radlinsky as he bellies up to the bar and gets the conversation going that'll make you think you're sitting in your local watering room. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans. So sit back, grab a few beers, and let's get into it. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer of sports talk and a whole lot more. Tonight's show, as always, brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420SEAT at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts. It's my guys over there at Craft Brewed Sports, one of my favorites. Tuesday night viewing, those guys, I get a chuckle out of those guys every week. They've been doing it for 9 years now, and they never skip a beat. And thank you very much for everybody who's listened to our show for all these years. Years now. It's Jesus, crazy how it goes years. And our guest tonight, not even a guest, right? A contributor to the show, almost part of the has a stool here at the Sports Bar. Aaron Riley, Aaron out in Pennsylvania. How you doing, Aaron?
Not too bad. It's probably not chilly by your standards, but we're sitting in the 40s back again, which is we were up there, approaching the 60s. Now we're back in the low 40s, which kind of sucks. But I mean, count your blessings. Eventually it'll be kind of normal itself out here one of these weeks.
We're in the 60s today. There's a little bit of wind, but it's been nice. Last weekend it was if it wasn't for a little bit of wind chill, man, it would have been fantastic. I think it was on Saturday. I was out in the baseball field umpiring a game, junior varsity college game, and it was fantastic. I didn't wear sleeves. Like, holy cow, what are we doing here? So the next day, I put some shorts on. Thought, hey, we're here now. And then no, I should look at the old weather app. And son of a bitch, it was cold. It took me 2 minutes 26 seconds to swear tonight. Bitch is a swear, but whatever. Yeah, it's just crazy how the weather it tricks you, and your body, and you probably the same way out where you are, Aaron. Is like your body gets into it. Like, it's nice now, and so you just start thinking about your wardrobe a little bit. It's nice, it's good, yeah, and your whole your thought process changes. Like, no, it's still cold.
Yeah, and like I said, like the last couple of days have just kind of crept up on us around here because, like I said, we every day was by noon it was comfortable every day, and now the last couple of days, I mean tonight and last night it feels like winter again a little bit. So it's like I said, it could be worse. We're not seeing any snow or anything like out there in Detroit. I saw your Yanks were playing in the snow the other day, but I'm ready for it to be a little more consistent. I can't complain per se, but it's like, come on, man, like don't go back to these 40s again. At least the 40s are like, it kind of smacks you a little bit.
Yeah, I was watching the Jays Red Sox game last night, and the Jays are actually playing pretty good baseball right now. It's early, so how much stock do you take into it? And it looked like it was ready to snow and everything else. Like, oh, you wonder if, like, when they take their teams out of spring training, and a lot of these guys, they play in different colleges throughout the year, and when they get drafted, they're from wherever, who knows? And you wonder when they make their roster selection. Okay, where did this guy play? Where did that guy play? So you got some kid from Dominican. I'm not going to like this very much because like you were saying, they actually changed the games in Detroit because it was going to snow so much. They changed night games to afternoon games. You wonder if they take that into consideration. Like, this guy is not going to like it here. We should probably maybe bring a kid from North Dakota or Delaware or whatever it might be to make this work. Because, man, oh man, that must be a culture shock a little bit when a kid from Dominican who doesn't ever see snow or doesn't ever see whatever it might be for the adverse conditions. Like, this kid's going to hit 110. Let's probably not bring him up until we get back to some warmer climates.
Yeah, I mean, that is something to kind of think about there. I mean, it's kind of like those guys in the NFL, like when the Lions will travel to, Green Bay, for example, they're so used to playing inside, or Dallas is another one that, they're playing inside or the roof's open, and then they have to go play in New England. It's like, that's kind of a shocker to some of these guys. Just like you said, these guys that play down in Dominican Republic where it's 80s every day and they don't even know what snow is. And boom, you're playing for the Yankees in April. It's like, damn, this is kind of flip the switch on them a little bit.
Yeah, April baseball, like it's funny. Like, and I've been saying it before this podcast stuff first started, but my wife she's caught on to it a lot over the years. Turned into a baseball dork, but you can't win the World Series in April, but you can sure lose it, and it's quite funny. I had a lot of people talking about. I talked about this show this morning that I did. The Atlanta Braves, like, oh my, you start off on a 1-7. Yeah, they had a tough opponent out there in LA, who's just a wagon, obviously. But man, you start off 1-7, 2-8, and you're 6 games out already, or 6 games under 500. So you're all of a sudden you're 8 games out. And just one of her things is when you become a mathematician, your team's basically done. And it's early, but Jesus, man, we talked about it off air for half a second, but when you become a mathematician on April 9th, when you got to start winning 6 and hope the other guy loses 6 and you win 10 and lose, like, holy Christ, it's early to bring the calculator out.
It is, yeah. And for me, it's always like, I don't know why I think like this, but it's based on like the franchise, right? Like I have trust in the Braves because they've kind of been there, done that. Now, if you're looking at like the Rockies that are 2-8 or whatever, it's a little less, confidence inspiring because like when do they ever find a way to kind of squeeze in the playoffs anyway? It's far and few between. Now the Braves, like I said, I don't ever. They're a team I just don't write off. I've seen them time and time again, and for a while you could make the case they were the best team in the NL East, for like decades almost, because they didn't win a bunch of World Series in that time, but it was division championship after division championship. So I totally agree with you, though. I mean, there's some teams out there right now that, I like you said, it's very early, but it was funny. Me and Trajan were talking about the White Sox. They won their first series of the year that they played. They haven't won a game since then. So it's one of those things. It's like it can snowball quickly for sure.
Yeah, it's just so many games and so much can happen, and it's funny. We sent you some show notes what we want to talk about. We usually go off the rails, and don't usually end up talking about that. But you mentioned irrelevant teams. That was one of the topics we were gonna hit on tonight. And you mentioned the one that I forget, and I've been to Coors Field a number of times. It's a great spot. Denver's a great city. It's almost Canada-esque a little bit, right there in the Rockies, obviously, and it's a great. But we were going to talk about irrelevant teams a little bit, and like you said, you brought the Rockies there. Is there in baseball? There's not a lot, but there's enough irrelevant teams. But because I still consider the Rockies an expansion team because I'm so used to, like, I'm old. So you think about those teams and every sport kind of has them, like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I still consider them an expansion team because they weren't around when I was a kid. So it's kind of funny, but the Rockies, they might be, and this wasn't even meant to be, like, this wasn't a setup at all, but the Rockies might be the most irrelevant franchise in professional baseball because, like you said, they made the playoffs once or twice. I don't know the stats. They went to the World Series the one year when the Red Sox beat them, and but I forget the Rockies are even in baseball. And like I said, I've been there a number of times. Is there a more irrelevant franchise in baseball than the Colorado Rockies?
I This one might be, you might not agree, or maybe a lot of people wouldn't agree, but I often look at the Mariners only because they find a season where they win the most games ever in the regular season, and they still find a way to lose in the first round. So it's almost like they've had whole, you go King Felix, you can go Ken Griffey Jr. There's been other guys that have come through there. A-Rod was a Mariner way back in the
right before he was that first $250 million guy. He signed that deal with the Rangers,
yeah,
for 25 for 10, and people were like, "What the hell?" And I'm sure, like, now guys are getting 50 like nothing, right? So
yeah,
like 25
yeah.
is nothing now. It's crazy, but yeah.
Well, it's in like I said, I mean, from a team perspective, I mean, you can make an argument that the Rockies have had more team success because they've gone to a World Series. The Mariners haven't even, to my knowledge, they've never been to a World
They have
Series.
not. No.
I know they have never won one, obviously. The Rockies haven't either, but they appeared in one. And like you said, it wasn't, I mean, it was in the 21st century, it was after 2000. So Yeah, I often look at the Mariners because it's like they kind of flirt with being a decent team, a respectable team, but they have never accomplished. I mean, they haven't even appeared in a World Series. I mean, there's other teams out there we could talk about, like modern day, that are kind of like the Pirates are irrelevant, but they have a storied history. I think they have like 5 World Series. So from a perspective of like a team that you kind of forget exists, I almost want to say the Diamondbacks too. I know that they've gotten a lot better, but I mean, before they were like a decent team, like that, I think that team's often forgot about too. It's just
It's funny that you talk about teams like the White Sox, who should be more relevant. They just stink, and how you can go from being okay to pretty good to winning a World Series. I can't remember what year it was, 06 or whatever it was, and then to just drop off the map. And it's just ownership. I don't want to get into the, 'cause every time me and you talk, we talk about money and money and money. But it's funny how some of these teams just drop on. And Chicago is a major city. Like it's not like it's some schlump like I don't want to say Seattle's a schlump. It's a beautiful place as well. But the thing with the West Coast teams, like you just said, like you're already purring and sucking Z's in when when the Mariners start their game. So I can see why you would say the Mariners are irrelevant. And then like for me, like if out here in the Mountain Time zone, yeah, if the Mariners are on, but I'm probably going to turn the Dodger game on before I'm turning the Mariners game on. So they get lost in that realm of things too. Like, yeah, the Mariners got to rank up there with a pretty irrelevant team because you're a Mariners fan or you're not. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, you can watch a game, but it's the
it's
Mariners.
no, and I think there's. I mean, you can almost compare it to like the NHL, how they have their, like Columbus as a team in the NHL. Who's another like Vancouver, and I don't know much about Vancouver, but it's you're not talking about like New York City, LA, like they branch off into these like little smaller markets, and I think baseball, you can make the argument, kind of does the same thing. Like you have I mean, just these teams that are like the Diamondbacks, they don't have that like I don't know, nationwide presence. Like, I mean, obviously no one has it like the Yankees or like the Red Sox or the Dodgers or stuff, but there's a lot of these teams that are like, just even the Orioles, you can make like the Brewers. There's teams that are just kind of like, if you don't know baseball, if you go up to a person and show them like a Brewers logo on the street, and you're like, hey, where's this team? Like, does this team play what sport? They might not even get that. So I don't know if that's a problem for baseball, or it's just like, we as baseball nerds, we know, okay, the Brewers have that, the Marlins are this, but it's not like the NFL where it's like everybody kind of knows what that is, or what that represents, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think baseball's in a pretty decent spot when it comes down to viewership, and there's obviously problems, but it's crazy how regional baseball is compared to other sports. I mean, it's like you're a fan of your area's team. This, like I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think I've watched a Cincinnati Reds game in 15 years, and they got one of the bigger stars in the game. And all right, I just don't care. Like, and even though I'm a baseball dork and I can see the nuances of the game and I can break things down and just watch a game and have a beer and whatever, like the Reds are just like, okay, they're the Reds. They're not terrible, but they're not. They won the World Series in 1991, I think, when they beat Oakland out of nowhere. Speaking of irrelevant, but the thing with Oakland is they're not irrelevant because of the news that they've made with moving and everything else. That hasn't turned out very well in Sacramento because they haven't embraced the name Sacramento A's, and they just want to be the A's for a couple 3 years. And that's like, we've talked about this before, you and I, and I've talked about it by myself on the show. Like that's a marketing disaster for baseball, where they're just renting for a few years, and then they might move to Vegas, and it's still kind of up in the air with that whole deal. Like, how baseball finds a way to trip on their dinks every time they have a chance to do something positive, they just don't. It's weird that the national pastime is such a marketing disaster when it comes down to that stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly, it is. And I don't know if it's because you look at it from like, okay, it's 162 games, we can kind of plop this team wherever, and they're going to play 81 home games and 81 away, and we don't really care. But like, we would never see this in let's say the Viking stadium exploded, or the roof exploded, which did happen not too long ago. They figured that out pretty quickly, and I think they did have to play at a college stadium for a little bit. But the fact that baseball runs from basically April through September for the regular season, and the Rays are playing in Yankees spring training fields.
Steinbrenner, yeah.
Yeah, that's another where it's like, you have two franchises, both, and they're both in the American League, it's just weird how that happened. But they were playing in AAA stadiums, and I don't know if you saw it the other night. I should have sent it to you, but our guy Mike Trout was playing out there at Oakland, in Sacramento. And
yeah.
I don't know if the lights are much different, if they're not as high, but he completely, the ball's coming and it goes way over his head, and oh man, it was funny to see it, but he couldn't have played that worse, and it looked like, that was something to see.
It's I remembered back when they imploded. Geez, I'm fucking old. But they when they imploded the Kingdome out in Seattle, and the Seahawks played out at University of Washington, which still seats 70,000 people. Right? They're massive fields. Baseball can't do that. Like, baseball can't say, yeah, let's go over here. Let's go over here.
Even college, yeah, you can't, none of the college
field, because college fields might see 20,000, and that's on a good. They'll find a way to squeeze 20,000 in and put a bunch of lube on their sides and get everybody in there. It's a lot different, right? So, baseball can't afford to do that, and the way that baseball has really tripped up this Oakland thing, and now it's even worse, and they're not Oakland anymore. It's just because they're only getting. What is it? 9,500 was last night. They had the first night was sold out, shiny new toy syndrome, but then last night was 9,500 sold. But then now they have they're starting to already give ticket sale deals to people, where you get two for $25. I talked about this morning, two for $25. So what about the person who already bought the $30 seat? It's got to be a marketing disaster for what. And it kind of shows that the team doesn't really care, because they're just there for a short time. But they got to be losing money. Why not just stay in Oakland for a couple more years? If you're planning on moving, move. But it's the whole thing. It stinks. It's odd how they did that on Oakland. It's really weird, and it's odd.
I think even if what I would have, if I was to,
what would you have done if you were Aaron Riley, owned the Oakland A's, when the deal? Yeah, I want to move. What would Aaron Riley have done with the Oakland A's if you were the owner? If you were the John Fisher, what would you have done differently? The way it all turned out, the secret deals, the deal didn't happen in Vegas, and everything that happened. What would you have done, Aaron Riley? Spend $1 billion somehow. Tell me how you would have done it.
Yeah, I think. My wish was that. After watching, like I've told you this before, after watching Moneyball, I didn't really have an affinity to the A's at all. But watching that movie, I was like, man, I've always liked the underdog teams and the teams that don't spend a lot of money, just because it's it'd be cool to see them win for once. And knowing that, that place would go nuts when they had a good team in that building. So. Maybe I'm loyal to a fault. My ultimate wish would be to keep him there. If I'm forced to go outside of Oakland, I would try to at least hang on to as many years as I could there, and probably move the team to LA instead, just because the whole Vegas thing I don't particularly love that for baseball. I don't know if Vegas is a baseball town. I think they're more like football, hockey, fast-paced sports. I don't know how well baseball is going to do there. So why not just have a trifecta of the Angels, the Dodgers, and the A's in LA, and just kind of go about it that way. But I would have loved to see him stay in. I guess I'm just a purist. I would love to see him stay somehow in Oakland. But we saw the Raiders move. The Golden State Warriors are no longer in the Bay Area, really. They're down the street, but it's not quite the same. So that city itself is kind of crumbling, unfortunately. But I would have loved to see him stay, but that's just kind of not feasible. But I guess
you wonder if, like you said, you like the underdog, and you whack. Baseball's all about stories, and I like talking to you about this kind of stuff. And you're younger, you're a lot younger than me, but I like hearing these stories about waxing poetic a little bit and how it can all come together. And baseball's all about the story, and who knows, the underdog might do it, and they might have a chance. And like you said, Moneyball was a great story. It wasn't exactly told the actual truth of the way that it all turned out, because the best pitching staff almost ever. But that's no story for another day. But do you ever think there might be a chance? I mean, football doesn't matter because of the salary cap. Nobody spends $100 million and whatever, and they got a quarterback worth $65 million and whatever. But do you ever think there's a chance in the other sports, and basketball doesn't count because it's not really a sport anymore either? But do you ever think there's a chance maybe in baseball that just maybe that it all come together somehow in a small market team with a payroll of less than 2 players on the other side might pull one off?
I think it is. I mean, we saw the Rays knock on the door a lot. I mean, they were in that the Phillies World Series back in 08, I think, 09, 08. Yeah, because then the Yankees beat the Phillies in 09. But I mean, that team kind of had that going for them. I mean, they never spent big money. They never, they didn't have huge names. Evan Longoria was a drafted piece. Like, he was probably their best hitter, but I think they won one game in that series. So, I mean, I don't know if you consider that close. I mean, they're in the World Series, so I guess they came out of the
Closer
AL.
than 29 other teams.
Yeah, right? And to come out of the AL in that time period with the Yankees being as good as, I think the Sox were right there. Like, the AL East is a gauntlet. Pretty much there isn't a year that it's not. So, there's that. I mean, outside of them, though, it's hard to really – I mean, the Rangers, when they won it, they still had big names. They spent a good amount of money. They went out at the deadline, made deals. Like, it's not like they're like, a team, like, because we talk about all the time, the Brewers. Like, do I ever see them winning the World Series? I mean, I'm not going to say they can't. It's just, I mean, if you give me the Brewers against the Dodgers in a 7-game series to go to the World Series, there's 100 times I'm picking the Dodgers. So, that's a pretty well run organization. The Brewers, the Rays. I'm trying to just kind of think about those smaller the Orioles are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I think, with their ownership, being really committed to winning. But outside of that, I mean, it's pretty much like Philadelphia is a big market, big spender. Obviously, your Yankees, Dodgers. Like, you start thinking about the Mets. I mean, the teams that that have a good record so far, they're all kind of, I mean, not shocking. So
it's unfortunate. Like, we could go like we've talked with this again once again. Not that we get bored talking to each other, but it's funny. Like, there's just teams that aren't going to win this year, and there's teams not going to win next year, and you're like, all right. And like, I was up here in Canada. Like, the Jays are obviously they're right across Canada. It's a different time of year right now because people are still talking hockey a lot because the playoffs start next week. I want to get your take on Ovechkin a little bit later, but they gave Vladdy $500 million. All right, like, he played them like a fiddle. Like, I think he played him like a fiddle. Is he worth $500 million? Well, nobody is if you talk to some people, but someone paid him to do it. What's the talk out in Pennsylvania there, out in the East Coast? Like, what's it with Vladdy getting 500 sheets, and where are the Jays?
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, no one really cares about that's the thing, we can talk about with baseball and compare it. I mean, even the NBA, unfortunately, like, you'll hear a big name like Kevin Durant goes there. Boom, everybody's talking about that. Baseball, we've talked about that a lot, is baseball doesn't market their guys. I think Ohtani's the closest thing they have. Judge is a close second that they market. But outside of that, I mean, even Harper, I think if you live in Canada, you don't get any talk about Bryce Harper out there.
Not a ton.
Yeah,
not a ton.
And he's a cornerstone player in the league, and you got I guess Mike Trout doesn't really count because he's injured half the year at the least anymore. But like, outside of Judge and Ohtani, I mean, like, no one talks. It caught some airtime, on ESPN and the nationwide programs, but like on 94 WIP out in Philadelphia, they didn't even mention Vladdy. Like no one really cares. And from the perspective, like you asked me, it does that change? I mean, maybe it's a business decision. Like, okay, we're trying. Like they brought in Santander from the Orioles, they brought in Jeff Hoffman from the Phillies. Yeah. Like they're throwing pieces at the wall. Their starting rotation is still horrible in my opinion, but it's like, you know, signing Vladdy, is that like, hey, we're gonna keep our homegrown guys in Toronto, and we're gonna try and put as many asses in the seats because, you know, he has some cachet with the name, obviously his dad, and he's had a good career. It's just like, does it move the needle? And even if I was a Jays fan, would I be over the moon about it? Probably not. Like he's a good player, but that's not going to get them a World Series. It didn't like propel them in any type of way, in my opinion.
What's funny, we talked about A-Rod and Seattle about 10, 12 minutes ago, whatever it was, and he got $250 million over 10 years. And he went from Seattle to Texas. So name two more irrelevant teams 25 years ago, whenever that deal was done. You can't. That was you were 5 years old, right? So before Aaron was a fledgling podcaster, he got sites to be on ESPN every day. So that was huge. Somebody got $250 million to go from Seattle that nobody cared about to Texas that no one cared about. Now somebody gets $500 million, and nobody cares. It's like, all right, another guy. Like it's just it, and that's what 20, like I said, 25 years ago, whatever it is, and nobody cares. It's crazy.
Is that would you say it's a baseball problem or just organizational? Because I think if he landed in you know, even on the Mets now, because, you know, with the whole Soto thing and Steve Cohen just kind of throwing the money around, like I think they get more buzz, and maybe it's because they're New York's not that far away. It's a NL East opponent for the Phillies. I think they get a lot of buzz, but the Jays could go out and sign. I mean, obviously, it'd be a little different if they would have landed Judge or something, but it's the Jays are just like, no one really.
But what I'm getting at, Aaron, is Seattle was like, Seattle.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Who cares? I'm in bed. I don't care. Like you're on the East Coast and the West Coast 3 hours from now. Like I don't know. Fuck. Anything could happen. I think it's more of a societal problem where you throw out the B word now, and like, or the million, the M was like, oh, like, wow, like 10 million. Wow. Now it's like, all right, that's all he got. What do you mean it's all he got? 10 million? 25? Oh, yeah. It's crazy. Like it's absolutely astonishing that it gets no buzz. Yes, it's Toronto, and yes, it's Canada, but they've actually been pretty good, and he's not a face of baseball, but he ranks up there in the top 20,
yeah,
with his smile and everything else, and it's like, well, whatever.
That's what I mean. It almost feels like it's Ohtani and Judge, and then I think it's probably my bias just living in Pennsylvania, but Harper, like I said, Harper gets a lot of, you know, noise around here, but. Yeah. I mean, outside of those three guys, and you can make an argument Harper's not even in that conversation. Ohtani and Judge, it's like, who else in base? Like, we don't know who's the center fielder of the Rockies. You know, we could probably mention that we know Bo Nix is the Broncos quarterback, but we don't know the Rockies' best player. It's like,
so basically what you're saying is baseball is a marketing problem, really. Like really, you come down to it. I mean, and so many guys and so many guys going to the IL, and this guy's in, this guy's out. They throw a pitcher and he strikes out 14 guys because that's what batters do nowadays. It's like, all right, this guy's great today, and then some other kid from fucking Wichita State comes in from last year, and he got 14 strikeouts tonight too. Like it, and we were sitting last night watching the Giants game afterwards. We were watching, me and Deanne, and and I was shocked that the strikeout percentage is 22% this season. More than 1 out of every 4 batters strikes out. What are we doing? Like, what is going on? I know, like, hitting's hard. It's probably the hardest thing to do in sports, but what are we doing? Like why? Why is and you're like as young as you are, and you're still a baseball purist. What are we doing that making contact doesn't even matter anymore? Getting on base doesn't matter anymore. Like if there's a 22% strikeout rate, that's not even just getting out rate. 22% of the guys strike out. I saw the Yankee stat line that they won today. There was 25 strikeouts in the game. That's not entertaining. Like that's just like what are we doing?
And what really bothers me is like obviously striking out swinging sucks, and you don't like to see it, but the amount of guys that just and sometimes like I was watching the Phillies and Braves last night, and Ozuna on the Braves. I mean, I forget what pitcher it was out of the Phillies bullpen, but I mean it was a very hittable ball, and I don't know if those guys are up there. And we easy for us to say we're sitting here like I can't hit a 90 mph. I'd look like a fool. I'd probably jump out of the box because I think it's going to hit me in the head. But
Yeah,
it's like at the same rate though. These guys are like they are the best players in this country or in the world, regardless. But it's like they're taking like the amount of pitches I see them take with a 2-strike count that I'm like, why would you not at least swing at that? That's what really like I'd like to see the percentage of how many guys are striking out looking, because it's got to be like
I saw 3 last night in that Jays Boston game. I was like, well, what's wrong with that pitch? And that's as an umpire, as a baseball executive. I'm like, why aren't you swinging?
are they just playing? Are they completely guessing? They're like, if this is a curveball, I'm going to swing. If it's a fastball, I'm not. Like, I don't know why you'd have that approach, because it's like, see the ball, hit the ball. Like, I was always taught 2 strikes, protect the plate. Like, simple as that.
Hack at it,
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, if you swing at a ball, 3 feet over your head, that's one thing. But I mean, if it's near the box, I mean, you can't fault a guy at least as much for swinging and missing. And like I said, just the amount of these guys that'll just take strike. It's like they take strike 3 up, back to it's just no big deal. Whatever. Like it's move on.
There was this goes back a lot of years, and about 1997, 1998, I think it was, and I can't remember what league I was umpiring. It doesn't matter, but it was in the minor leagues. And I heard a third base coach. This guy was an old grizzled. When this is in '97, so 28 years ago, and he think fastball and adjust and yelling every time. Think fastball and adjust. I can remember him saying that, and you have to like because he's gonna throw it by you. Adjust to it. Like, what are you gonna do? Just give up? And it seems now they're not adjusting. They're just giving up. I can't hit that. Or actually, you know what? Even better. I can't drive it. My StatCast stats aren't going to say this. I can't do this. You know what? I'm out. Fuck it. It's so they'd rather just not than have a StatCast their launch angle or whatever. And I didn't mean to get to this, but like, old man, get off my lawn once again. But it seems that way. Like, I'm glad you brought it up. The younger generation, like, they're like, I can't drive that somewhere, so I don't care.
It's almost like
Might
running.
be an extreme analogy, but yeah,
No, it makes sense, and it's like people talk about. I forget what game I was watching. Maybe it was Oakland the other night, well, Sacramento or whatever. But they were saying just
it's
like
Oakland still. Yeah.
the this one guy on their team in particular, they're like, this guy always puts the ball in play, and they just kept. I mean, they were going on a little bit of a tirade about how you put the ball in play, you never know, the third baseman might throw it over the first baseman's head. Now the guy's at second. Like it's very simple. Like everybody that watches baseball knows that, and the fact that like some of these guys, like I see Schwarber all the time. The guy either swings at literally everything. Like he'll swing at 3 straight balls, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't even see the ball, and then the next at bat he's not swinging at anything. And I mean, he walks more than some power hitters. I'll give him that, but it's like puzzling because then he'll take a pitch that's like middle in, and it's like I just the thing I try and look at is like if you watch Judge, that guy is like dialed in almost every at bat, it feels like, and I know he strikes out a good amount, but I mean the guy hits 300. He at the end of the day you can't really ask that much more. Like some of these guys approach that are hitting 220, I'm like, why? There's a reason you're hitting 220 because you have 2 strikes, you don't drop the bat off your shoulder. It just makes no sense to me. And then none of those guys want to be sent down, but they're striking out looking 4, 5, 6 times a week. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help you. It doesn't make sense.
Like baseball is such an individualistic sport more than any other sport that there is. It's a team sport, but individualistic stats. And is it a point now? Is this just a factory of the system now, that we're seeing what it was 10, 15 years ago, maybe when you were playing high school baseball or minor baseball, whatever you want to call it, where a perfect game, where the stats mean more than winning. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe I worded that wrong, but it's that, like, if I'm good, I don't care if my team wins. My stats mean more. My stats mean more than the team winning anything, because you see so many guys not do anything. You're like, okay, why is this guy in the big leagues? Like, but his stats said something when he was in the perfect game league, or he's in an academy, or whatever it might be. Are we is right now? This is actually a good question. Is right now the era of sport where we see a lot of athletes who are self-centered, who were built, they were good here, but winning didn't ever matter. Like, winning didn't, like, as my stat said this, I went 2 for 3, I went 3 for 4, my exit velocity was this, my stat was this, my YouTube channel had this. Is that what today's athlete is? Is this is right now what we're watching a product of what was 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 8 years ago, whatever the number might be?
I do think to a certain degree, and I'm not trying to like just kind of pile on the Phillies or whatnot, but I think, and I'm not even the biggest Harper guy. Like, he's kind of a douche. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like, a guy's hard to love, but at the end of the day, I think that guy does care about winning more than
I love Harper.
Like, his mindset towards the game, I think, is what you want a superstar to have. Like I said, he might not be everybody's cup of tea. He's not even my per se cup of tea. Like, I kind of thought I'd like him more. He's kind of just, I don't know. He definitely beats to his own drum. There's no doubt. But I mean, he's been told he's the best thing since sliced bread since high school. So I mean, I guess that's what you come to expect. But I mean, I'll put it to you this, like, kind of phrase it back to a question, is like, when you watch Vladdy, is it like that guy wants to, like, and I know not all these guys are going to be animated like Harper, or like, certain guys in the league, but I like when the guy doesn't show much emotion, and it's like he is a stat machine, like Vladdy is a kind of a stat guy. Can you at least look at it and say, I don't know if I quite know, that guy, as far as, does he want to win, or does he want to just hit bombs? Because is he really getting mad? At the end, is he voicing off in the media, I want us to be a better team, or is he like, I'm good with my 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and cash my check, and that's about it.
And that's why I'm a little good segue. You're very good at this. You've been doing it a while, but it's when a guy doesn't even explore free agency,
Trout.
like we're Trout, and like we hack on Trout a lot. That's actually one of the things we have in common right across the this continent we have. But when a guy doesn't even explore free agency, like Guerrero didn't, that he's just fine with being in Toronto. Like, maybe I don't know. Obviously I don't know, talk to the guy. I'm not on the inside of the Blue Jays. I know a few people I could talk to, but you just wonder, like, when a guy doesn't even look like he is going to explore it, does he want to win where he's at? Is one. Does he want to, two, be just status quo? I'm good. We're not going to win. I can just go day to day. Or does he want to bring a championship to the team because he signed there when he was 16, when he was at some academy in the Dominican. So if I was a GM, I'd be like, okay, we haven't won with him. We could probably save $500 million and win and lose without him. Does this guy want to win something, or does he want to bring some? Like, it's just like, when a guy doesn't even explore and we haven't done fuck all with him, is it like does this guy actually want to win? Because if he hasn't even went to the Dodgers, if he hasn't went to the Yankees, if he hasn't went to the Phillies, to a team that's better than us, and inquired a little bit, I know they can't because of collective bargaining and everything else, and they're not supposed to. They're under contract, but they do. If these guys don't even explore going somewhere, what's his desire to actually win? Like it's what's his desire to win? Because if you got a guy who signs with the Cincinnati fucking Reds long term and goes, we're not going to win, but I like being here. I like him to say, yeah, I went here, but I want to stay here to help this team win. Like it's just like, do these guys want to win? But then you see guys like once they do win one, they're pretty happy, obviously. But is that just because when you win, you're happy? Like I just find it odd. Yeah.
Well, and Vladdy, for example, or even Mike Trout, you're talking about like guys that can pick where they want to go. We're not talking about like Jazz Chisholm. If he would have hit the free agent market, I mean, he would have had probably 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, but it's not like he would have been like, oh my God, everybody's flying out this, like when Soto was a free agent, like everybody's gumming to Soto's house and they're like, begging him hands and knees, like, whatever we got to do, we'll do it for you. It's just, I've been a kind of a, the way I look at it is, the Yankees this year, they don't go out and, they can't close the deal on Soto, but they go out, get Max Fried. I mean, I still think they probably could have, spent their money a little better. Cashman, I've always kind of, been a little bit, puzzled by, but what they did was like, okay, we're not going to get Soto. We're going to get Fried. We're going to get Goldschmidt. We're going to get Cody Bellinger. Like, at least they put in that effort. That's what I don't understand, why the Jays wouldn't let him walk and say, okay, we were going to spend $500 million there, but now we know our rotation has sucked for the last 5, 10, 15, whatever it is. I mean, outside of like Roy Halladay and Kevin Gausman, who have their rotation has not been good. Alex Manoah for 1 year. But then it's like, why would you not look at it from like, hey, let's build this team to be competitive, not let's sink $500 million into a first baseman that's going to hit you 30 to 40 bombs and hit 270 or two. It's just, what does that really do for you at the end of the day? If you're not building the rest of the team, which, I mean, they, like I said, they went and got Santander, can hit some bombs, and Jeff Hoffman's a good reliever, but you still have that rotation where it's like, are they going to hold up for?
That was weird.
All good.
Done. Hey, go ahead. So yeah, we're still recording. So yeah, we're good.
No, I mean, what do you like? Obviously, the Yankees spend money, and they never have a problem spending money. But you could make the argument that Jays have kind of went out and spent money, but it's like, did they get any closer by extending Vladdy for probably the rest of his career? I don't. What difference does it make?
I talked about this morning. Like I have no problem with guys getting paid $500 million. I don't. If you want to give a guy 500, 700 billion, I don't give a shit. But it's the term. Like, at what point does anybody think that your team or that player A or player B or player C is going to be worth $40 million or $50 million or $60 million when they're 40 years old? It's the term. Why not just say, you know what? Let's give this guy, if he wants $500 million, let's give him $500 million over 8 years instead of 15, because in the back half he ain't gonna be worth fuck all. So then just give it to him, just fine. Because you know what? Now we have to play this guy who can't hit fucking 220, who is going to be a DH by the time he's whatever age. Like, just forget about the term. Give him his money, because you have it, obviously. And now with deferred contracts, just do it here. Because you can't have a guy who's 40 years old with the way, because we don't, like 10 years ago, we didn't know we didn't know everyone was going to be throwing 100. We didn't know that. Right. And so just give him his 500 and say thanks. And then if somebody else wants to take him on later on, good enough. It's always the term that bothers me. I don't care about the money. It's their money. But as a fan, it's having a guy who's 40 years old who can't play anymore. And it's just that's what bothers me, because I'll be a fan forever. that guy won't be a player forever. Like, don't have that guy hurting my team later on down the road. It's always a term that bothers me. Pay the guy $500 million and be done with it, because you're going to give it to him anyways.
Yeah, or I mean, that's like when you brought up the deferred thing. I obviously I love that idea. But how many guys are gonna like? I think Ohtani's a special breed that he's gonna agree to something like that. Like with Aaron, and nothing against like I'm not saying these guys are bad people or whatever, but Aaron Judge has earned the right to make what he makes, based on his value to the Yankees and based on what he can contribute to the team.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what his agent's going to say. He's going to say that, all of them. Like, that's the thing about Ohtani that was like, it's almost unfair. I mean, it's baseball though. Is he's like, you know what? I'll go join the mega super team in LA and I won't even hurt their, like, he's not going to be on their books for I forget how many years, but it's like, they're basically getting a free
his career. He's making
$1 million. Yeah. It's that's what I mean. So, I mean, if you could find guys like that, I mean, you could. That's why the Dodgers, are the Dodgers right now, and they had it before him. But I think when they added Freeman a couple years ago, they became like, wow, this team is really, just a powerhouse. And now you put Ohtani in the mix, and then if he comes back and pitches, like, it's just they are loaded to the max. And like you said, though, it's. Signing. I hear all the time that Harper wants to like renegotiate his extension, which, I mean, if you look at it now, it's like it was a 13-year, $330 million. So he's making 30, which wow, like people will think, holy shit, 30 million. But when in the now it's like the NFL, these quarterbacks just keep going up. So if he restructured and made 45, I wouldn't be like shocked. It's just he's still on the he's I think 31, 32, and he's got 7 or 8 years left. So there you go. There's your 40-year-old Bryce Harper, who's, he's already been banged up a lot in his career. And not as much playing first base, but the swing that he has and how aggressive he plays the game.
Bodies wear out.
Yeah. By 30. And he's been, this is a guy that was playing state championships at 15, 16 years old. He got called up to the majors at like 19 or 20 or whatever. Like he's going to break down quicker than I think some guys will. And, like you said, I mean, that 30 million a year at 37, 38, 39, what's that
going to hurt your team? But we don't know what payrolls are going to be. I who knows? But it's just I just don't get it. Like, in how these businessmen are the smartest men in the room and everything. You're like, well, you didn't win last year, you didn't win this year. Like, you didn't win. I just find it crazy, because is there teams that finally win them. They're happy, right? And it's just like, fuck me. Like, all these guys have an open checkbook and they don't do fuck all with it. And Cashman's might be the worst. It's not a Yankee thing, but it's like you have an open checkbook and you've done nothing. And we said it before, like when Steinbrenner would, or Hal or Hank, or when George, even back when he was alive, must have been saying like, okay, I spent 250 million or 250 whatever, million this year, let alone like in 10 years. And these guys are spending fucking 40 and they're going to the World Series. Like, what the fuck, man? It's astonishing to me that money's just whatever. And that's why I really, really believe that winning until you get to a certain point, winning doesn't matter, because the money is so huge. It's like it's a business. It's a business. I think the NFL's the worst culprit of that. Like, baseball's bad, but I think NFL is even worse. Okay, we'll pay this guy $55 million to be a quarterback for a team that's not very good and has no chance of winning. And then, but we're also raking in $340 million a year to profit. And so, you know what, we'll trick our fans into saying we're invested to winning, but fuck it, who cares?
Yeah, I'd almost argue that football is the worst, only because or I'm sorry, that baseball is the worst. Just because I think some of the Orioles, for example, this new ownership comes in. It's promises out the wazoo. We're gonna really. I mean, Adley Rutschman's still not signed to a long deal. The guy's top 3, top 5 catcher to me in baseball. He's a stud. I mean, he fell in your lap. You drafted him, but he's been pretty much as advertised. Gunnar Henderson, same thing.
Oh.
I mean, these guys are like, you don't just come across these guys every draft. That's the thing. And the fact that they're homegrown kids, they're growing something there. And this owner's like, we're committed to winning. Like, this is a good baseball team. I'm not convinced of that because you haven't even, there's no talks that they're going to get, these guys are going to sign. They're probably going to go to arbitration. They're going to get pissed off because they know they're better than arbitration money. They've proven it already, and then they'll be out the door and they'll be on the freaking.
But the thing is, it's going to cost them more to get through arbitration, to sign the fucking guys and try to win something because
you're right, and that's like, now I kind of guess it sounds like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth.
No, you're not. No,
because it's like because I just said let Vladdy go, but like if you're an organization like the Orioles though, where you haven't had many guys that are like this caliber, and they've come up and they've been like everything you thought they would be. You got it, because at some point people are going to get drafted. Like, if these two guys don't re-sign with the Orioles and they're going
to get for another 20 years,
right? And then they're middle. Let's say they're just middle of the pack. Even okay, they're like a 500 level team. Every kid that comes out of college that gets drafted there is like, yep, I'm fucking out of the door 5-6 years. Like, no one's going to think, well, this is where I'm going to spend my career. And then that puts a bad taste in your mouth. How many of those guys are going to say, I'm going to give it my all in the last couple of years that I'm here because I know I'm going to get paid by the Yankees, the Red Sox.
Contract here. Yeah.
And it's just like so at least I can say the Jays made the effort to say, you know what? We like Vladdy. We drafted Vladdy. Like, we believe in Vladdy. We're sticking by him. These teams like the Orioles, the Brewers do it all the time. There's a million different teams out there that, the Marlins. How many guys came through the Marlins system? JT Realmuto, Giancarlo Stanton, Yelich. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. None of those guys are there. None of those guys spent even half their career there, because as soon as they were able to get out the door, that's exactly what they did. And like I said, the Orioles are an example of that, where it's like, are you in or out? Because the thing is, like, are you satisfied with making the playoffs and having 3 more games a year to drive in some revenue? Or are you actually trying to be something? Like, I think the Phillies are. I think the Yankees are every year. I think obviously the Dodgers are. The Mets are really going for it all of a sudden with the new ownership. So
actually, I was listening to I can't remember what show I was listening to this morning on the way to work there over at Smith Stadium, but I like how Steve Cohen, the Mets owner, he basically called out the Mets fans. He said, "Listen, I put in this much money for this many years. I did this. It's time for you to show up. Like, I did this. Okay. You know what? He said, I'm a Mets fan. I spent more money than could ever imagine on this team to win. And I appreciate that." And he said he's going for it. And I like one of the very first shows I did here on the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. I said that basically Steve Cohen's going to change the game of baseball because he's a fan and he's got more money than all the rest of these fuckers, like all of them, almost combined at some of them, right? And he's going to change the face of baseball. And he called out Mets fans. He said, "Okay, here it is. I did what I could. Now you got to show up to help pay for this." Because no matter, like, you think about how much it costs to put on a game day, and actually not at a much smaller scale, but everything you have to do to make a game work, the advertising, how much it costs you. Yes, you have revenue coming in, but the talent of your team. And Steve Cohen called on Mets fans, and they showed up. They showed up last week, and I like how Cohen did that. Like, listen, man, I'm a fan too. I invested this. You need to invest your time as well. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, are they going to do it? Probably not, because of the Mets. I mean, the Mets are going to Met. So, but I thought that was pretty cool that he called up Mets fans to do that. Because then it holds both sides accountable.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So now Mets fans can go back and say, okay, asshole, we're half a game out at the trade deadline. Go and get this guy. So
Yes.
it would be a fun banter back and forth. I love what Cone did by calling out Mets fans.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's warranted in doing so. Like if it was the Pirates ownership or the Marlins ownership, he'd be like, go kick rocks. Like you haven't done
Hey,
shit.
can you please come to our game?
Yeah, like you got to come. It almost would work backwards. It would be like if you start coming to our games, we'll start trying
Then I'll
to.
spend.
Yeah, and it's like bullshit. That's like you said. These guys have so much. The Pirates. I listened to Jim's episode the other day, and like I couldn't agree more. And I have a couple of buddies that are all Pittsburgh fan. Penguins, Steelers, Pirates, and the Pirates. It's a beautiful stadium. Like
Couple of friends, 2 brain cells. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean they're. I'll give it to Pittsburgh. Like Pittsburgh fans, they're kind of
They mean it. Yeah.
They're all in. They're all in on all of them. It's not like they're just kind of in on the Penguins or in on the Steelers. Like they're kind of all the way around. But it's like they know what it is now. And like it's funny. One of my closest friends in high school growing up, he's a Pittsburgh guy all the way around. And I remember that because they were right there. Like 2015, 2014, they were a playoff team, and it was like damn. Like watching those games. Sold out PNC Park like that. If you get a winner in town, there's a couple markets. I think like Arizona. I don't know how many people are showing up there. Miami, are they ever going to go crazy? Probably not. But like Pittsburgh, that's a sports city, and the Mets have a rich, like people will show up. If you put a winning product on the field, that's why like these owners drive me, like they come out and say, we're trying to, like the Pirates owner, we're trying to build a winner here. No, you're not even trying. You're not, and then you expect people to show up game in and game out. Like you said, it costs a lot to put on a game, but like if your ownership isn't serious about it, I mean, why should the fans show up if there's no effort to win? I mean, you got Paul Skeens going out there just shoving every 5th day for no reason. Like he's out the door as soon as he's able to.
Gone.
Yep.
Gone.
And they'll draft another Paul Skeens and just keep
that's only 3 years
cycle
from now.
will continuously run.
Like it's crazy. Like you just go, what the hell are you doing?
They just don't. And the thing is, if we talk about all the time, if you spend money, you make money. Why not? If you're going to own the Pirates, why not spend $30 more million? And I know that's throw around like chump change, but to these guys, it is. So why not at least? Okay, in 2025, we're going to go $30 million on the payroll more and just see what happens. It's not even like they try that. They don't go there.
So I have this new thing. The one guy above me at the with the Lethbridge Bulls, he gets mad at me all the time for spending money, but whatever. I don't give a fuck. Well, I do. I do. I shouldn't say that, but you got to spend money to make money. But my other way is you never save money saving money, and if you keep saving and saving and saving, then what? Then you don't have this, and you don't have this, and you don't have this. Then what? And it's just like, okay, what are we doing here? And like last year was my first season with the Bulls here in town. It's obviously it's minor league baseball. It's a lot different than Major League Baseball. But I tell you what, when we were on a 9-game winning streak, people were coming, right? People are coming, and then you're going for a division championship. More people are coming. And it's to not go for it. It's odd, and the Major League. It's just odd that these owners do this. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Because everybody, they got money. Yeah, the Yankees and the Dodgers, and it's. But you know what? They'll find a way. I mean, Jesus Christ. When I was 20 years old, when I needed to find a case of beer, money to get a case of beer, I get a case of beer. Right, like it's you know what I mean. Like I'm not destitute, but you know what I mean. Like they can find they have the means to do it, and when they just don't, you're just like, what the fuck, man.
Well, and that's the thing. Like for them, for example, like the Pirates that's a really winnable division. So let's just say they don't go balls to the walls and try and beat the Dodgers, and because they're an NL team, or the Phillies or whatnot. But if you're consistently knocking on the door of the division there, I mean, you're gonna draw, like you said. Okay, hey, the Bulls are going for a division championship. More people are showing up. If there's a reason for them to be involved, if you're not 14 games back of the division, like, and then you got to think the friends of this owner, are they ever like, hey man, it'd be a lot more fun if this stadium was filled up. When we come, like you look around and there's sections wide open, and it's a Friday, even a Friday, Saturday night at and that's the thing too. They have one of the best stadiums in baseball, and you're just letting it go to waste. Like, how do you not look at Oakland and say, well, this could be us if we don't, eventually get it together? It's just, I don't know if they just completely look at it as an investment, and if it goes up 4% every year, they're happy. I mean, I tend to think they just think like that, and that's.
I'll tell you what, man. Like,
That's bullshit.
You've been in to a lot of major sports events and even near town, whatever. Nothing draws a crowd like a crowd, right? And it's fun, and it's a good time, and people, like you said, in Pittsburgh, there when they're winning, man, like people go, and it's crazy, and it's just like when your team has a chance to win, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And you've been through it with the Eagles and with the Phillies, and there's nothing quite like it. Yeah, and the investment you get, and the T-shirts and the beer sales and the stuff and the things, and
just the media cover, like
the media,
social media
everything.
goes. Yeah, it's just.
And the bandwagon jumpers who are everything, and give yourself a chance to fucking win. Like, it's not. I don't think it's rocket science. Like, I really don't. I just, like, you give yourself a chance to win, and how teams don't. Because I mean, like, there's been one of the topics I sent you earlier on tonight. Like, when there's sometimes things jump out at you, and your team like season starts. Like, you're a big college football guy. I'm like a 2/3 college football guy compared to you. But there's nights, like one game, where you're like, that was so awesome. Whether you're at the stadium or at a bar or at home or with buddies or whatever, and you go, that makes you a fan. So then you go and buy a shirt, you go and buy a jersey, you go and buy this. Like, it's sports, like winning teams. It's, especially if you're a sports guy like we are, it's so contagious. Like, it just it drives you in. So you watch next week, and you watch next week. Do you have one in your life, Aaron? Like, I know I have a couple that happened to me, but do you have one in your life that you remember? Like, fuck, man, that's what really, like, I'm a fan for life now. Like, this is it. Like, this is good.
I mean, throughout, like, watching Penn State football, I can remember them beating Ohio State twice, I think. And the one where it was like 2016, 2017, I think it was 2016, where they blocked a field goal and ran it back. It was just like everything went their way. And I mean, we're obviously, like, Penn State fans. We're Ohio State's, like, bitch, basically. We're their stepchild.
Yeah.
They just run us over every time. So beating them, and like, I have, of all the teams I root for, like, just, as long as I remember, my dad was yelling at the TV on Saturday mornings, and it was just like, Penn State. That's all that matters. It's funny. He's a Steelers fan, and I went the Eagles way, but it's at the end of the day, like, though, like you said, college football is so, like, one game matters so much, and that's why I think it's so fun to just kind of be engaged. And Penn State gives me a reason every year. They always, like you guys always say, you lick the jar. They're like the biggest lick the jar team there is in college football. But that win in particular, I mean, I watch it every year, and I'm hopeful every year they'll beat Ohio State. But the one time they did was euphoric, and I'll always remember that. It's at Penn State too, which is just one of the best. I mean, even on TV, it's like watching that is just a different world. So that the Eagles Super Bowl will always, the first one, that'll always, hold true to me too. So,
like, up here where I am in Canada, like, college football is not really a huge thing here. Yeah, but the odd guy here and there who watches it, and their wives don't let them watch on Saturday afternoons or whatever it might be. But I remember, and I was always, because I've been a sports guy since I was like a wee one out in Fort McLeod there, in a little town there of 3,000 people. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who's watching college football. But I thought that USC was really cool. Like, I just thought, like, the palm trees and the sunshine in LA and the whole thing. And then the one that really brought me in, I wasn't there, I wasn't at the game, but the 2005 the Bush Push game against Notre Dame. And I was at a bar in Vernon, BC. I was out there for work, and I was watching that game. I was sitting with a couple of people, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And that game, I'll never forget it. Like the fourth and 19, the whole thing, and it was just unbelievable. Like it was unbelievable to watch. And then the first time I got a chance to go to Notre Dame or to USC to watch a game, they played Notre Dame in 2012, I think it was, and it was unbelievable. It was like me and my brother, and we were sitting in a section, and the guy turned around. He looked at me and my brother, and he says, "You guys aren't from here, are you?" I said, "Oh no." I said, "There's more people in this section than the town we're from. Like this is unbelievable. This is crazy." And just how like you see those events, and you're like, "This is what sports all about." And it's so fun, and like, and I remember you saying it before, like college football, man. It's something. I think it's the greatest spec. I hope NIL and everything else and the way the portal doesn't, because it's already started a little bit, but college football is such a great sport to watch. College sports in general are pretty good. But yeah, that USC thing. I've been a USC fan, like I said, a little kid and didn't know what was going on, just because, like I said, the palm trees and everything else. But man, when I first got to experience it and I saw that Bush Push and the whole thing, like, oh, I was hooked. I was hooked. That was it for me. And everyone like they're not very good, but I'm hooked. I care hoop, like it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch and that's the thing that college sports has that pro sports doesn't. The fans care. The fans care, and there's no owners, right? You can't blame anybody else. Like it's just this is what we got. This is what it is, and it's for such a short period of time, and it matters. And then you know what? That same team will be a different group of guys next year, but that team is my team no matter what. I think that's
Exactly.
what's great about college sports. That team is my team. No one's getting traded. Well, NIL, but but you know what I mean. Like this is my team, no matter what. And
Exactly.
I think that that's what's so great about college football. That it's just like this is my team for 11 weeks, and it's a gauntlet. And this team beats that team. Who knows? And it's so and I think that gets missed a lot, and that the big transition from pro sports to college sports is that pro sports guys get free agents, trades, whatever it might be, owners, but yeah, it's that was yeah, it's crazy.
And I don't know about you, but I'm so like USC and Penn State are one of the only schools that don't have the names on the back, which
Mhm.
even in like, I mean, pro sports, I get it. You're gonna want to sell. Well, the Yankees don't do it, but
Yeah.
outside of them, I mean, and I don't know how you feel, but Michael K goes on riffs about how guys will be in the bleachers wearing a 99, and it has the judge, embroidered on the back. That is weird to me, because it's like who number 99 is now. Now you're wearing a jersey that looks fake because that's not even what they wear, but. Getting back to like where I'm tying that in is like just watching like you said for USC. I mean, for Penn State, the blue and white, and that's it. Like there's no name on the back. I love everything about that. I'm one of those people that like if they put names on the back of the jerseys, that would like severely hurt my feelings. Like I'd be like that sucks. And then like to tie it into USC when they went out there and played them just this past season. I mean, the NFL, what you have like the Chiefs, whatever I forget what they call it. It's the Arrowhead, but it's like just going out to like you see Ohio State, the horseshoe. You see USC is like a cathedral. I mean, that place is like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Nothing in the NFL is even close. Like what Lambeau Field is regarded as holy grounds or whatever, but that doesn't even hold a candle towards you're fitting 100,000 at Penn State, 100,000 at Michigan, 100,000 at Alabama. Like you just cannot compare the two. And I have friends that will argue with me to the death that the NFL is so much better. And I'm like, you are
It's
out of
not
your mind.
close.
not even. And the thing is, in the NFL, it doesn't really. And I could argue in all pro sports, it doesn't really get exciting till the playoffs. Where college football, it's like every single, even if
Every Saturday matters.
Yeah, USC's playing, Minnesota, but it's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. It's like shit. They better pull it out. Where
because this team has to be this team for the ranking to be this and this.
And then now they have 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 loss, and if the Eagles drop week 13, it's like who gives a shit? Like, I mean, I'm not happy, but it's like
we're putting Aaron Riley as quarterback in the third. We're getting blown out.
We're still up in the division. It's not like we're gonna drop to fourth in the nation with this. Like the setup of. I hope they, even with the NIL and all that crap, I hope the ranking, as much as you can argue about the rankings and stuff, that's what makes it like.
That's what makes
cutthroat.
Because that's what makes college game day great. Because then because curb shoots are talking. They beat them. This could happen. Because Bear moved over to Fox. But yeah, it's just it's I love it. Like I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It drives my wife crazy because she goes, so are they actually done this week if they lose? Well, not exactly. Like I think they're closer to being done, but yeah, whatever. It's funny you mentioned the name of the jersey. When I went to 2014, I was in the Bronx. I was actually in for Jeter's retirement game there. Not the last hit he ever got there, but they had a retirement ceremony, Derek Jeter Day, and I went to some shop across the street from the stadium, and Jeter jersey number 2, paid it whatever, it was $150 or it was, and they grabbed one, put it in my bag. Yeah, good. Walking over, I had a T-shirt on, put it on, didn't look at it. It had Jeter across the back. I still got it over my shoulder here in my room. I've never worn it since. I didn't even know. I was like, fuck. So they were just getting rid of those ones because no one wanted the number 2 Jeter jersey because they sold so many that day. It's like, so yeah, it's over here with number 2 Jeter on the back of it. Yeah, it's never seen the light of day. Yeah, it's funny.
I understand they're gonna sell. That's one thing. I don't think Penn State does that though, but I'm surprised. I mean, but now we're talking like 4-year college players that are out the door, and you're talking about Derek Jeter or A-Rod but that is always like, they'll kind of like the bleacher creatures. I'll see those guys out there yelling on X and stuff. And half of them got like, Volpe on the back or Judge. And it's just like,
he sucks.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand the craze of having that person's name on the back when the jersey itself doesn't.
Well, especially free agency, unless this guy's done something going to Hall of Fame.
Like a number 2, like you could wear that number 2 till you're 80 years old, and that holds true.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's
I didn't see what the Masters. I heard this on a different show yesterday when I was driving to work there, and they were talking about the Masters. It starts tomorrow as we're recording this on Thursday morning. Sorry, but the Masters dinner is always a big one. So if you win, you get to pick whatever to eat for the champions dinner. Ooh. Bunch of rich white guys and whatever, but it's always funny to me what these guys' palates are, and what they want to eat and what they should eat and what they should, look like they're big superstars. And I've always I talked to someone at the office today about what they would get, and he's a different cat, but whatever. But Aaron Riley, if you won the Masters and they said, here's the menu for Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and all the host of characters are old rich white guys basically, except for Tiger obviously, but he might be the oldest rich non-white guy who's really white when it comes down to it. But like if there was a meal, I don't know, like we've never met face to face. We've done this a number of times together, and I don't know what your taste buds are. But if you had a chance to feed, at the Masters, let's say if you went to a golf tournament, bunch of old white guys and their wives and things and stuff, what would be on the menu? Because you get to pick. This is what I want, so I'm doing it. Stamp your feet and cross your arms. What are you having?
So this might sound insane, but
It's not.
I like a stir fry, but almost like a gourmet, like a fancy, like whether like there's stir fry and then there's like a plated stir fry that's like pretty proper. Like it's not. I guess because I wouldn't want to get like chicken wings, and I'm like, hey, Phil, like Tiger Woods, he'd be like, man, this guy is a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like
you're not pleasing them, Aaron. Think about yourself.
Yeah, but it's almost like I'm putting both because I love stir fry, and it's like it's at least not a finger food where I'm like, okay, this guy's a freaking like he's another what's that guy drinks all it's Jack something, I can't remember his name. It's escaping me. That guy, he like drinks beers on the court. He's drunk half the time. John Daly, yeah. I don't want to come off as like a John Daly type of. So I'd probably do like if it was
bringing Hooters into Augusta, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I that's like golf, holy grounds for golf. So I'd probably go like a gourmet chicken stir fry, rice, and all. But the whole steak. I mean, I like steak and stuff, but I like I'm a little bit off the path, but not like I'm not gonna get sushi or something like completely weird for that occasion or something like that.
Fuck, I like a burger, man. Like I don't even have like if a person puts burger in front of me, I'll eat it. Like same with donuts. Like I'll eat it. I like whatever.
Powder or glazed or filled or
glazed. I like a glazed donut.
Can't go wrong.
Glazed donut, good. Like I'll eat it. Maybe a chocolate covering. I like donuts. So maybe actually let's do this for dessert. No, not a dessert. As an appetizer or pre-appetizer, people walking in, I'll have a bakery with donuts and not flaky. Like a donut, like what you get at Dunkin' Donuts, or whatever. Right? Actually, I'll get a tray of Dunkin' Donuts. Fancied up the way, like on a serving tray, as they walk in, grab a donut, and then I'll see what people are eating. Like, okay, well, Marcy didn't get a fucking donut, so I'm gonna fucking sewer her. Right? This is what she's getting. And then, like, man, some kind of an appetizer. Like I'll actually throw some wings. Like I'll throw a buffet, like a bar platter out as you're walking around with cocktails just before you sit down. Yep. Just all before you sat down, just walking around, the girls walking around, whatever, the guys walking around. So if a bar platter sitting there and you pick and choose, then I'm actually probably going with a good steak or a prime rib or something like that. Potatoes, like real wholesome. Like I'm not getting something out of the ocean or whatever. Like I'm fucking. Nobody likes that bullshit. They pretend they do.
Like what's a real fancy like something just I don't know, like salmon, not even salmon, but you know what I mean, like calamari or something where it's just like you're doing that because it's expensive.
And then they're putting the sprinkles on. Like, get a steak, eat the fucking thing. Right? That's what I'm doing. Like I'm getting what people actually like, not what they're told they like. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more with you.
I'm from Southern Alberta, so we're almost as redneck as Montana.
That's true too. I mean, I guess I'm probably thinking about where it's like. I mean, I've been a Tiger guy like forever, and I do like Phil too. I mean, the whole I forget that live golf thing was kind of weird, but I mean, those guys I do like. But I mean. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting like you said, I'm not getting the all out like fancy bullshit, like, tiramisu this and that. No,
tiramisu, it's ice cream. Fuck off.
Yeah, like I might even like to your counter there. I might bring in some like Chick-fil-A, like a pallet of Chick-fil-A nuggets or something, but like a million of them. So just, I mean, if you don't like, at least in the States, if you don't like Chick-fil-A, I there's probably something a little wrong.
We have we only got a couple of them up here in Canada. It's just different how things work up here with our fast food. We got different fast food that you guys don't got, but there's a Chick-fil-A in Calgary, and it's lined up nonstop. I've never had it.
Wow,
Chick-fil-A is fucking lined up in Calgary, like around the corner.
That's how ours are. Yeah,
it's crazy to me.
Nonstop. Yeah,
it's to have that kind of dough. Just whatever.
Yeah.
3 more podcasts, we'll both have it.
Man, that would be. That's the type. Like, I'd get myself in trouble if I had that type of money because I'd have like Chick-fil-A pulling up at my house and like dropping off. Like I'd probably be 400 pounds, and it would be my fault. But
Are you an eater? Like if it's in front of you, eat it?
oh my god, man! Like it's bad. Like and my thing is I can't turn like a lot of times like I tell myself don't eat before bed. It's gonna screw you up in the middle of the night or in the morning, and I'm like I gotta eat. Fuck it, and then every time I regret it. It's just like.
Because I'm getting old, and I drink some beers here now and then. Well, I drink beer a lot, so but if I have it's 8:13 here in Lethbridge. If guaranteed the wife she's made something to eat, if there's any spice in it, heartburn central. Like
Oh yeah, I get that bad.
oh, it's like just bad. So then I'm up at fucking 2 a.m. and I don't sleep till tomorrow.
Oh, it's hell on earth. Yeah.
So really, it's actually her fault. She should know that. Because it's in front of me, I'll eat it, right? It's really
absolutely. Yeah, but you can't say like for me, it's man. I just when I'm hungry, I can't say no. It's tough.
Yeah, it's in front of me, I eat it. It's we're done here now for a second, but when it's going to happen again this season, but when after a ball game's done, it's Spitz there. The Bulls are done, and I don't know, it's fucking 10 o'clock at night, and people are filing out. And I go in the concession. I'll probably eat 3-4 hot dogs and 2 hamburgers.
Awesome.
You're just there. I just pile it in, whatever.
Well, they're gonna throw it away too anyway. That's
right.
One of them deals. Yeah, I worked at the Barnstormers. Well, now they're called the Storm. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, did you really?
Yeah, a couple of years. That was like a high school, and the thing is, like, I much like you. Well, no, you're there all the time, but like for me, it was like I worked in the concession stand, and it was like, we only worked when there was games. So, but at the end of the night, man, oh my god, it was like you had popcorn, pizza, nachos, and they're about to throw all that stuff away, and I'm like, there ain't no way in hell I'm not grabbing some of that. Like,
there was a couple nights where like it was packed, the place was packed, right? Then people just stopped eating. It's like, all right. So I was telling the concessions, keep cooking, fuck places, fuck whatever. People stopped eating. I was like, well, you have to take this one with me. So we have stacks of hot dogs and burgers in the fridge, eh? Whatever. It's a good gig. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a pretty good gig after a game. There's a lot of headaches, but no, it's a lot of fun. So it's
I gotta get back around somehow back around there. It's just different. Being around baseball it's work, but it's just being around it's different. I don't know.
You should find out how to be the GM of the Barnstormers.
Man, that would be sick. I'd be cool. It's just I know a guy on the team pretty well. I'm kind of I'm trying not to be on and blow him up all the time, but I'm like, hey man, I want to get on the field and throw the ball because I had a couple of camps there growing up. So like, and we actually the team I played with, we played on that field a couple of times, and it is cool because it's you know how it is. A minor league field beats a high school field. It's just a different feel. So it's pretty neat. I can appreciate it.
One of the things that was one of the coaches because I gross these guys out all the time about how shitty they are and whatever. And you get out there, so okay, I will. I hope they don't take video of me taking batting practice. It might be gross. I always swung a bat at a base like softball I played, but I always swung a bat at a baseball. Jesus, since 19, and that's how long it's since 19. It's 1996 or 5. So it might not be pretty. So
sorry, even in my best day, I didn't have power. I could get it out of the infield, but
I'd hit 600. Like don't get around that, but. Yeah, getting it anywhere.
I had one career home run. I'll never forget it. So
me too. Dave Elton Park, the bounced off the top of the fence, hit the top of the fence, and then went over. Yeah, still counted. Awesome. I had one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got one. That's
yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Anyways, it was a lot of fun, Aaron. Jesus, man, we go through these pretty good now.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. I my schedule kind of goes all over the place, but I if I can make time for one a week, I get at the least I'm good for it. So I enjoy it a lot. You're a baseball savant, and there's not many, even like Jim and those guys. I don't think they like baseball like we do. That's fine. that's fine. But
No, it's not.
it's
It's really not. I mean, if you like baseball, it means you're smart. I'm not saying Jim's not smart. I'm just saying baseball people are smarter.
Baseball it's just fun. Hey, you either love it or it's just whatever
Yeah,
too.
it's
A lot of people will think it's whatever, but if you fall in love with it, you're not turning back. That's all I know.
There you go. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Four Pure Sports talking a whole lot more. Tonight's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420SEAT at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20. Remember, everybody, doesn't matter where you are, so you're with. Aaron, thank you very much for doing this. We'll do it again, hopefully next week. Why not?
Yeah, anytime. Thank you. Yeah, anytime. Right. Like I said, we'll figure it out. I know.
Yeah.
I know we'll figure it out.
You know where I am. Cheers.